Well, welcome. This is Dr. Joe Connor of the Connor Bubble, and we're glad you can join us. We have two very special guests. We're going to be focusing on women helping society from two similar but different perspectives, and we're going to show you how small the world is. You know, 6 degrees of separation. We're going to be showing you a living example today about how small the world really is. Also, we want to bring you up to date on some of the things that are happening on the campus at Pasadena City College, where I teach. I just got promoted to a full professorship at PCC. Just got the paperwork today. We have a new person who's over the foundation at Pasadena City College. Her name is Bobby Abrams, a very, very positive person, a person who we are going to be working with very closely. You may or may not know I'm the chairman of the Academic Senate Fundraising Committee, and we have a goal, and we have had it for a number of years, a couple of years now, to raise $100 million for Pasadena City College. And with Bobby at the helm at the foundation, we finally have someone who can share our vision, and we're going to work very closely to raise the funds to help students, to improve excellence in teaching, and also help the students with learning. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity. We have some challenging times in education, and this program today is designed to show you different ways why education is so important and why no one gets to that successful rung without help. And with that, we want to introduce you to our very first guest. Her name is Trina Fleming, and she is with Women Helping Women and Men to Work.
Correct.
All right, very good. Welcome to the Connor Bubble.
Thank you so much for having me.
And so we were talking off camera that Trina is not a native of the West Coast, but from D.C.
From Washington, D.C. originally.
All right. But it's kind of interesting to show how small the world is. One of the issues is that she went to college at Vanguard.
Vanguard University.
And I remember when Vanguard was Southern California College.
That's right.
And then and it's only about 3 blocks away from my house. You know, so I jog or walk around there with my dog, or just walk past her campus all the time. I'm glad to hear what you're doing. And I got in contact with her because of my wife at the Living Waters Christian Fellowship in Fountain Valley has a ministry that the church is working on called Hope Fulfilled, helping single moms. And you work with women and men and help them to get on their feet. And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Women Helping Women started in 1993 as a way to help survivors of domestic violence get back into the workforce. 2 survivors would collect clothing from their neighborhood and then take it to shelters so that women who had to leave their homes in the middle of the night, didn't have anything, would have clothing to go to interviews. But since then, we have turned into a comprehensive employment support service, not just for women, but for men and teens as well. So the things that we offer, we have 4 basic programs.
Okay.
We have our interview appropriate clothing and image consulting. We help clients with things like what to do about tattoos, what to do about piercings, how to stand up straight, eye contact, handshake, all of those soft skills that are important. We also do direct job placement services. You know, one thing that we learned is you could dress someone up, you could teach them what to say, but if you can't put them in front of someone who can make a hiring decision, especially nowadays, it doesn't mean that they're going to get a job.
Right.
So the other thing we do is educational workshops. If you haven't looked for a job in the last 2 or 3 years, I'm here to tell you it's a total different ballgame. You really have to learn how to search for a job.
Right.
So we do things like teaching online search. We do resume development, helping you to customize that job search. We also do job placement services. So we will work with clients one-on-one, helping them to walk through a customization of their job search. So if someone is looking for, say, an entry-level job as a receptionist, that's a total different job search than someone looking, say, for an accounting job. So we will help them with that as well.
I'm fascinated about the ideas of, you know, teaching people how to sit up straight and stuff like that, and all the other things, the soft skills that you're talking about. What is the response to people when they learn that those kind of things are important to their employability?
You know, the way that people really see it is on our tape mock interviews.
Oh, you do that also?
We do tape mock interviews because we can sit there and tell you how it looks for you to slouch down or not have good eye contact. A lot of our clients aren't necessarily feeling good about themselves.
Right.
So it's something that they have to learn. You know, how do you convince someone to hire you when you don't feel good about yourself?
Right.
And even if your life is falling apart, we teach you how to hold that back and present yourself well to that prospective employer.
How long does it take you to do such a thing in terms of?
It depends on the person, it depends on the job. I will say that right now the average length of unemployment is 40 weeks, which is the longest it's been since 1948. It is
40 weeks.
40 weeks is the average
Is that just in Southern California or is it nationwide?
nationwide.
Is there a differential? Have you been able to find out in Southern California if it's about the same?
No, but I'm thinking it's probably a little bit higher in California,
Okay.
only because the unemployment rate is a little higher in California than it
That's
is
a good
across the
point. That's a
nation.
very good point.
So it's probably, unfortunately, maybe 42 weeks or so.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, we'll be coming back to Trina and talking more about the Women Helping Women. And my next guest is Jeannie Washington. We met at a Red Tails debut in Pasadena. We were sitting next to each other. We had never met. It was the whole theater was purchased by a particular a fraternity and had about 200, 300 people, all motivated to see Red Tails together. It was a marvelous opportunity. And as we were talking, she was sharing with me about her experience in education and offered her a chance to come and share her perspective on teaching. And I thought it was kind of cool that she accepted. Jeannie, tell us a little bit about yourself, and they want to hear more about your teaching experience.
Well, I just retired in June of last year after 43 years,
2011.
2011. I enjoyed it immensely. I taught history, all forms of history, U.S. history, world history, economics, government. I also taught reading. I'm a reading specialist.
Okay.
And I worked, my last school was, well, I started at Bethune Junior High School, which was now a middle school in South Central. And I moved to Frost, which is now middle school too, but it's in Granada Hills. Then I moved to Mulholland, which is in Van Nuys. And then I moved to Washington Prep, George Washington Preparatory High School, where I did my last 22 years.
Interesting. Now tell me, you hearing Trina talking about the soft skills. How has your teaching experience, how have you observed these kind of factors in your teaching your students?
Actually, the kids, well, the students that I taught, I would make them get up and do current events so they would get used to talking in front of an audience.
Okay.
And they had to do projects. But most students don't really talk, and especially now with the technology, they don't talk at all. They just text each other, text. So those skills are like, and the writing skills are going to pot too, because you know you use to for TO and U for YOU.
Okay. Now, when you were mentoring the students at Washington and other schools, what is it that you observed that really worked to help students? You know,
Just showing that that you cared.
is it that
Actually-
important?
Actually, it is to show that you really care. I had a good rapport with the students. I would go to all of their football games because I had a lot of football players and basketball players. And they would insist that I come and watch them, and I would tell them, I'm not your mother. I don't need to go watch the game. And then I would show up at the game, and they were supposed to be playing football, and they yelled, there's Miss Washington. And, you know, it was fun.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they just sent me a notice to come back and see them, the basketball team I went last weekend because they were in the playoffs.
You know, it is very important to teachers. I remember even now, my elementary school teachers, how they made a tremendous impact. One teacher in particular, Mr. Daniels, used to, you know, sing all the time and this kind of stuff. And Mr. Ducio helped me establish my first bank account at Broadway Federal Savings in 5th grade and stuff like that. I think it was with $10. I was so proud, and it made a big difference. And I did the same thing with some of my students who were scholars on a NASA grant that I had. And so we helped to set up some bank accounts with the Pasadena Credit Union here.
Well, they would say that I was mean, but I liked them.
Yeah.
It was really an oxymoron because how can you be mean and nice? But I was the meanest teacher they had and the nicest teacher they had.
It's an interesting kind of thing, but these paradoxes, like you're saying, is an indication of truth. I teach my students about paradoxes. And because paradoxes give you an indication that you're really dealing with the real world. Like the lighting we have in here is an example of a paradox.
Right.
The light behaving as a wave and also a particle. And what you said, it makes perfectly good sense to me, is that they would just do both of those totally contradictory things, but at the same time, so true. And they love you for that. Because
they did.
So I think
I guess they did.
well,
Well, with teaching, you really don't, especially high school, you don't get that immediate feedback because they're 16, 17, 18, 15, 16. So they're not going to basically come over and say, I love you, whatever. But there are a few of them, and then you see them later on, and they tell you they remember you.
Well, that sounds good. Now, I mentioned that there was a small world, and we went and saw Red Tails. But Trina just told us that she has a who?
An uncle.
An uncle that is actually a Tuskegee Airman. What's his name?
His name was Ezra Hill.
Ezra Hill. And what was his nickname?
The Singing Airman.
The Singing Airman. Do you remember any stories that they would tell you about the Tuskegee Airmen, anything like that?
No, I just know he could sing very well.
Okay.
That's what they call it.
Well, that's a good reason to call him the Singing Airman. All right. And so we hope to encourage you to go see it when you have a chance. I think you'll really.
I definitely will.
Yeah, and I think it was a great movie.
He
And,
may even be in it.
Now, wouldn't that make it a small world?
yeah. It is kind of nice. Now, if you were going to talk to, either one of you can jump in here, if you want to encourage, say, parents or significant people in the lives of folks who are struggling, what would you say to them in these difficult, challenging economic times?
Would you like to go?
I can go.
I would say one of the things is to stay encouraged by reaching out. I think, and I was telling you the average length of unemployment is 40 weeks. That's a long time to be diligently searching for a job.
Right.
But I think it helps our clients to know that we're there. It's someplace they can come. We have things like Job Club, where our clients can get dressed up as if they're going to work, come and participate with other job seekers. Being able to go someplace every day or once a week or twice a week is important. I always say, for those of us who are employed, Friday is, yay, it's Friday. But for the job seeker, Friday is not the best day because there's 2 days coming where they're not going to make a hiring decision.
That is very true in terms of understanding that. Because just when you described it that way, I can understand the stress that it could put on an individual, not to mention their family members and things of this nature. So you actually have times where people can come and role play is a word, as being at work and stuff like that. How long has that been going on?
We have been around since 1993. Our Job Club has been around for like the last 3 years, but we've always been a support to our job seekers.
Okay.
We have job seekers who call our job placement specialists because they're feeling down, they're feeling discouraged. One of the problems with the unemployment number is that it doesn't include those discouraged job seekers who have stopped looking for a job.
Right.
People think that the unemployment rate is determined by those who are collecting unemployment, and that's not true. It's actually determined by those who are, one, working, and those who are not working but who are available to work, who have diligently sought work in the last 4 weeks. So if you got a pink slip today, you are not considered unemployed because you weren't looking for work in the last 4 weeks. If you didn't look for work in the last 4 weeks because you were sick, you're not considered unemployed. In fact, you're not even considered part of the workforce. If maybe let's say you took a temporary job and got paid under the table because you had to do something to pay rent, you're no longer considered unemployed. You're not considered part of the workforce because you're not either employed or unemployed, available to work, and diligently searching for a workforce in the last 4 weeks.
Now let me ask Trina, if someone wants to help women, helping women, what would they do? How would they do that?
There's a few ways. Obviously, we always take financial donations. One of the things that makes WHW a little different than most organizations like us is that our services and programs are always given at no charge and no obligation to every client. No client ever has to pay for the clothing, for the workshops, for the computers, for the job placement services. all of that is given at no charge. So when we have clients that maybe we don't have clothing for them, maybe we don't have their size, we have to go out and purchase that. So we always take financial donations. Another way is we couldn't do what we do without volunteers. Last year we used about 400 volunteers who donated 1,300 volunteer hours to help us through personal shopping, through doing workshops, doing things in the office, a myriad of things. And the other way that people can help us, they can always like us on Facebook. We're always trying to increase our number of social media followers. And they can also, one of the things that we're looking for now is a retailer who would kind of partner with us and help provide clothing for those clients of ours that we don't get clothing donated for. So an introduction to a retailer for men or for women, particularly for men. Our men's clothing is very hard to get. And our clients get about 6 pieces of clothing each. So 2 tops, 2 bottoms, 2 jackets. We give them accessories. Everyone gets a pair of shoes. Everyone, guys get belts, ties. Women get handbags, scarves, belts, jewelry. Everyone gets hygiene items. So every client walks out completely prepared. Even if you were living in your car, that employer who is interviewing you would never know it based on how we have provided for you.
Right. What I'll do is I'll have assign one of my staff people to call a few of the retailers. When I get back to the office, call and assign them to find out some of the top retailers and call around, and then and see if we can get you some name of someone that can talk with. Tell the viewers how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, we're on the internet. Our website is www.whw.org, or you can call us at 949-631-2333.
And repeat it one more time.
Okay.
Oh, there's a web.
There's the website. Okay, the phone number is 949-631-2333.
All right, very good. And you can search in women helping women online through one of the search engines.
Absolutely.
All right. And then,
Well, I worked this summer with the Black Congress, a congressional job search this summer when they were at,
Okay.
where were they at? Price's Church.
Okay.
You know,
Oh, in
with
Crenshaw.
Congresswoman Waters.
uh-huh.
And they did a lot of the same things. And I also did a Black College Fair for the last 20 years, 25 years, where we got kids to interview and do their thing. But, just telling students when they would come in and say they were going for a job interview, you need to go put something else on. You cover up your tattoo, do this, do that, comb your hair.
Well, what you're talking about to both of you is very obvious that these kind of things, because you've seen it. But I think it's good for the audience to also understand that this kind of stuff needs advice.
Well, a lot of teenagers don't realize it. They realize that whatever they put on, they should be hired. And with the new clothing standards, where your bra strap is showing and the bra is showing, or you got on short shorts, or your underwear is showing. They don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well,
But the employer's not gonna
speak
hire you.
exactly to that. Clearly say to the audience what you're just saying, but definitively, about those standards.
Well, the clothing standards have changed.
Okay.
And unless you're in the marketplace, you really don't know it. So if you're not in a place where you see people who are professionally dressed all the time, you're really not aware of it. Because in California, we do not get dressed up to go shopping, So therefore, you'll see people walking in all kinds of clothing in the store. So if that's your only point of reference, you don't have a point of reference.
Right.
So as a student, you might think it's okay to wear my tank top, with the plastic strap showing and the bra hanging out. Or if I'm a young man, I can have my pants sagging and nobody's going to say anything. And so you're not appropriately dressed.
Okay.
And then they don't see why they can't be hired. So when they come back and they tell you, or if they tell you they're actually going to on a job interview, you try to give them some tips without hurting their feelings.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to bring them down, but you want them to be appropriately.
Well, be direct here, because your butt hanging low and pants on.
Well, they call it sagging.
Sagging, but you know what it means. If you want to get a job, make sure your shorts are not showing. And if you want to see a good idea of how to dress, you might want to look at some of the programs on television in terms of, professionally
You mean
dressed
the newscasters and stuff?
newscasters or
Don't do the
some not these reality shows, but the idea of some successful people going to work, get an idea, and and you can still have your casual way of around your friends, but you have to separate between your casual attire and your work
Same thing
attire.
with language,
Same thing with language. That's good
You
because
have-
we are used to shifting languages.
There
back and
is a
forth.
home language and there is a professional. Well,
Yes,
now they
yes.
call it a cash English and a regular English.
Caching. I'm really out of touch.
Me too. I've never
I was talking about hot pants, and earlier before we got on there, and now it's not hot pants. What is it?
Hoochie mamas.
Hoochie mama. I ain't never heard of hoochie mama, so I'm really out of touch. But we want you to know that the purpose of this program is to encourage you because there are people like Women Helping Women, a teacher, and other significant role models in our community really care about young people. And this program, we're joking back and forth, but you should know, young people, that folks care about you and that we really want you to succeed because you are future leaders. And if we don't encourage you to step up and to take the mantle, we are going to be in desperate situation. And education is underfunded, and we need to make sure that people who are going to be our leaders get the encouragement they need. And that's why programs like Trina's and your experience and what you are sharing with us today is so valuable for young people. What actions would you like potential clients of yours? You call them clients?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of steps? Say, for example, if you're a person who may be homeless, or for a woman who is in an abusive situation, or you're a single mom, share the first 2 or 3 steps. Assuming that they never thought they would ever need your service, what would you tell them to do?
Well, first of all, if you're in a situation where you are in danger, you need to get yourself out of that situation. And if you're looking for resources, the best thing you can do is call 211. 211 is like a 411, but it's specifically for services available to people who are in need. And then 211, based on what services or resources you need, they will know exactly how to direct you. We get a lot of referrals from 211. So people say, I'm trying to find a job, I can't find a job, I don't know what to do. 211 will refer them to me. But if someone, like you said, is in an abusive situation, maybe they need shelter or they need clothing or they need food or something like that, that's the first thing I would do. Mm-hmm. All of our clients are usually for clothing are referred in by someone. If you're looking for computer classes or workshops or just direct job placement services, you can call us direct and make an appointment.
Give it the number again.
949-631-2333.
And I think instead of talking about give you the 411, we may want to tell people give the 211. To change the 211 is because 411 just talking about giving information, but the 211 is giving you resources.
That's right.
So if you want resources, if you are hurting and you need a resource, you need a job or you need some kind of services, we want you to know that the number to call is 211 to get those resources. And how broad is that? Is that all over the country or just Southern California 211 service?
Just Southern California.
Southern
But
California.
it does include income taxes. Because, they have that commercial out.
Yes.
The income, the earned income.
Say that again.
If you want to, if you file your income tax and you want the earned income tax credit, they say call 211
Okay.
to see if you're available.
Right.
If you qualify.
Okay, interesting. Now, what would you like to say with some of your students who may be watching?
Hi. Just make me proud.
I was thinking that word proud, make me proud. That's right, that's good. In your experience in terms of, we have a couple of minutes or so left, in your experience with the parents, what would you say to parents of a teenager today in 2012?
They have to be concerned. They have to be there for them. Because as a teacher, I can't do it all. One little kid told me I would call his house every night to make sure he did his work. Every time he did bring his work in, I would call home. And he told me one day, he said, well, Miss Washington, you care, but my mother doesn't. And that's not enough. You know, so you have to care. You brought this child into the world. You have to make him do the best he can, and you have to be there for him,
Okay.
no matter what's going on in your life. You know, you still have this life that you're responsible for.
Now, you said a good point, the same thing that you said on the interviews. No matter what's going on in your life, you're going to have to sort of suck it up and do something for other people. In the case in the interview, is think about your family and your future. What's happening now cannot prevent you from succeeding in the long run.
Correct.
But a lot of time parents, you know, dash children's dreams.
Yes.
And teachers do, and adults do, and they don't realize it. You know, so you have to be there to support that dream, no matter how wild it might seem.
Okay, that's a very wise thing to say, so support the dream. What would you like to tell the audience before we close this program?
I would like, well, thank you so much for having us on here. It's always important for an organization like WHW to get awareness. And the thing I would speak to people who are out there looking for a job, one thing to remember is most people who are interviewing you have made up their mind in 10 seconds whether or not they want to work with you. So that's why the way that you speak, the way that you talk, the way you walk, your posture, your handshake, your eye contact, all of that is so important, and WHW is definitely here to help you with that.
Within 10 seconds, you know if someone is hireable, and so it's important. Also, you have had that experience of talking on the phone, and you know if the person is smiling or not. And so we want to take to heart, when you first walk, your interview starts when you get out the car or off the bus, and not when you walk into the person's office. So keep that in mind. We just want to know we really care about you at the Connor Bubble. We want you to succeed in 2012 and beyond. We want to thank you for watching us. Hopefully you share the program with your family and friends. Trina, thank you
so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Hope to have you back again. I love to hear what you're doing. And Miss Washington, Red Tails made it all possible.
Yeah.
And then, it's so nice that you accepted the invitation to come.
It was nice for you to offer.
Oh, I'm glad. You were such a nice person. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Joe Conner in the Connor Bubble, and you have a fantastic day. This is so